John's over here being conceited. You know, he like the best man to work on anybody's car. But I can't say nothing because if you watch my very first videos, all the damage that was done to my car, he fixed. So yeah, he conceited, but at least he got a reason to be. Unlike some of you Negroes out here who just be fabricating and faking the phone and exaggerating about your own skills. Yeah, the highlights is goddamn popping. We're back on sculpture. I'm trying to figure out why in the hell. So I told y'all I was gonna give y'all the story time on my last video. But I'm not gonna say I'm a nice person because I'm not always a nice person. But I am considerate in certain areas, meaning I'm not gonna talk about somebody's parent when they sitting right there in my face, because especially if there's already bad blood between that person and their parent, I don't want to throw coals on the fire. And being that the child was around during the time that this stuff happened, they already know the stories. But this time, story time is going to be about the time I had to kick the only person I've ever had to kick out of my house, I may have mentioned it in passing, but a couple of years ago, I invited a play family member who I've known my whole life since I came out of my mama. And we've lived together before, so let me just throw that in the beginning. We've lived together before, but not under these particular circumstances. So, what I mean by not particular circumstances, I was living in her house, she wasn't living in my house. And I'm a different breed of person. If I live in your house, I'm not gonna disrupt whatever you got going on. Whatever you got going on in your house is your business. I'm not gonna come in and change rules. Most of the time, I ain't even gonna be there. I'm just gonna be as incognito as possible. So when living with her, there was never a problem. I paid whatever bill she asked me to pay, cooked dinner, cleaned, and I worked. So I wasn't slacking on any aspect. And when I left with what I came in with. I didn't take any of their things. I didn't let my boyfriend take any of their things. Whatever I came in that house with is what I took out of that house. So whenever I moved out, we didn't have any problems. We were A-okay, or so I thought. But jealousy is a very ugly, very dangerous creature. And the sad part is, you really shouldn't have to be jealous of somebody that's always got your best interest at heart and has always looked out for you. Like anytime this particular person, we're gonna call this person Cole. That's gonna be the name of this person, Cole. Like, you know, the coal you put in a bad child's stocking. Cole and me never had no major problems. Like I said, when I lived with her, when I moved out of the house, we were on pretty decent terms. We didn't really have no beef or anything. A few months after I moved out or whatever, she fell on bad times right after I had got into it with my ex and we had broken up. So she started coming around more or whatever. And during the time of her coming around, she lost her place to stay. She had children, so me being family or whatever, hey, mi casa su casa. You should never, ever, ever say that to anyone besides your husband or your mama, because some people take it and they go to the extreme with it. So fast forward to month number 2. By month number 2, all of the little hidden things that you don't know about people because they don't live in your house comes out. And people change in short amounts of time if they are very conforming. They're conformist and they are amoeba brained, meaning they need other organisms for their brain to function correctly. They have to have help thinking and doing things for themselves. And generally speaking, like in this case, she's always been the puppet to all her men. Whatever her man says, that's what she does. Or whatever her man says, that's what she believes. To the point, in fact, of I stood there and watched this man tell her he went in her storage without permission, took her children's stuff and some of her stuff to the pawn shop because her kids needed some money. Never told her, and mind you, she didn't find this out till after the fact. And when she asked about it, he lied. Later on, she found out the truth when she finally got her children to tell the truth because they were scared to tell her. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. She moved into my house with the bullshit. First problem I had, Cole isn't very intelligent. And she's not very street smart. Like, common sense shit to people that are from the streets, it go right over her head. So she starts dating this street dude. Dude she's dating is all kind of nefarious. Like, dude got all kind of problems. But she don't see none of them. Because he loves her. Yeah, that part. I'm like, what does that got to do with it? No. But anyway, she moves this crackhead of a man into my house, and yes, I mean that literally, not figuratively speaking. She moves him into my house, and the problem starts. First, she tries to take over my house, basically meaning she moved in and tried to change the rules. Even had the audacity to tell me she didn't want my friends coming to my house that's in my name, bought and paid for by me. You pay and $150 a month for you, your boyfriend, and your 2 kids. So, little stuff start coming up missing out my house and shit. I'm like, what the hell? I ain't used to stuff missing. I'm not used to not being able to put my hands on my things. What the hell going on? So I'm thinking maybe they moving stuff around because there's a lot of people in there. Because mind you, it's me, the guy I'm talking to, her, the guy she's talking to, and her kids in a 3-bedroom house with 2 baths. So with this being the case, I start paying a little bit more attention to what's going on. Come to find out, he likes nose candy. He likes the white girl. And she kind of expensive. And when you don't have a job because you're a deadbeat and the most you know how to do is steal from other people, then yeah, more often than not, you're going to wind up having to steal to support your habit. Now, I don't have a problem with you having a habit, as long as you ain't fucking with my shit to support your habit, and you're not in my house with your habit. Like, in your own crib, do what you do. It's your body. You want to die? Knock yourself out. So, on top of him stealing, I'm having to deal with her attitude. You don't want to listen to anything. You want to make the rules. You want to tell me who can and can't come in and out of my house when I can and can't have company, all because you laid down and had children. At the time, I had no kids. So I can't have company in my house because you got kids? No, it's called, when we were growing up, because we grew up in the same house more often than not. She was at my house or I was at her house. Our mothers lived together when they boyfriends and them broke up and all of that good stuff. So she know how I go. If you don't want your kids around company, they got a bedroom. That's where they need to be, in their bedroom. But that was too good for her and her kids, while only paying $150 to reside in my house. Mind you, when they moved in, my bill for my lights went from $60, $70 a month to over $300 because her fat fuck up a fucking crackhead boyfriend sleeps with the AC on, the fan on, and the window open. Need I say more? On top of doing all of that, don't put any wine in the refrigerator or any alcoholic beverage. Don't lay any of that around, because we're gonna call him crackhead. Crackhead gonna drink it. And then try to replace it with 99-cent water beer. My nigga went in there and drank a whole half a bottle of my Moscato without my permission. Left me nothing. And then told me, well, your boyfriend said I could have a glass. It was a $35 bottle of Moscato. This Negro tried to replace it with Pilsner. But I don't even drink beer of any kind unless it's at the most a Heineken or Budweiser. Is the most beer if I'm gonna drink that I will drink. So you got all these little problems culminating, and I'm steady trying to talk to Cole about this. Like, Cole, man, like, look. And Cole keeps brushing it off. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. No, he ain't on drugs. When I see clear powder rings around your nose, like you was over there with the powder donuts up your nose or something, and nigga, we know what this is. The first last straw was when I found a receipt for a pawn shop in my house with his name on it and my home items on it, including things that I could never get back because my father is dead and he's the one that gave it to me. So yeah, you could say I was a little pissed. You know, a couple holes showed up in walls, a couple guns came out of cases. Cause yeah, you only got so many times to play with me before I go Super Saiyan. Cause I start to glow. So yeah, that was the first straw. I called the cops. The cops told me, oh well, you can't put her out because you have to give her a 30-day notice. I'm like, the bitch is stealing. Her man is stealing. Well, because her name wasn't on the receipt, they told me she had to stay. So, gave her 30-day notice. Because you're a liar, you're condoning this crackhead stealing from me. You condoning all of this bullshit, and the plot thickens. Oh, it thickens so much more. It's thicker than root in Louisiana. So Cole gets the attitude, calls my mama and her mama. I ain't listened to my mama when I was living with my mama. What make you think I'm gonna listen to her now? But okay, call them. You can call who you want. You better call Jesus, because I'm about to hurt you. So she calls the mothers, and the mothers all culminate on me. We came to a resolution. She got 30 days to get the fuck out of my house. So then her crackhead comes to convince me that he doesn't know how somebody got a hold of his ID, and that's how the stuff got to the pawn shop, because he would never ever do that to me because he loves me, and if he wasn't with Crystal, he would have chose me. And ooh, I said that poor child's name. Oh well. Long story short,
somebody did you bad.
Yeah, probably. But long story short, niggas can't be trusted. Because crackhead didn't care what it was as long as it had a hold. So, we progressed for 30 more days. And they get the hell out of my house. When they get the hell out of my house, you would think all would end. And everything would go back to whatever, right? No. That would be too much like right. So jealousy rears its head yet again. And you send your crackhead to my house to pour shit in my gas tank, which seizes up my fucking engine and costs me $2,500. That's not to include all the lies that were told. Stuff like, oh, my boyfriend supposedly raped your child and forced an abortion on a 19-year-old. Just all kind of psychotic madness that made no kind of earthly sense. And I couldn't understand why, because it was like, I'm not even bothering you. I'm not thinking about you. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking about you. You blocked on every platform. What is the problem? I've known you my whole freaking life. Anytime you needed something, you pick up the phone, call me, whether it was somebody needed their head smashed, whether it was you needed $20, your child needed a place to stay, whatever the case was, I have always been there. Even though the way we was raised was kind of psychotic. So for Cole to in turn do the dumb shit that she did, there's a cold special place in hell for people like that. Because when it came all the way to the very end of the culmination, I found out that I had been lied to from day one. See, I was set up with... You keep taking stuff out of my
I was
hand.
feeling lighted for you.
You got a mouth? You think I care? They know you here. They can see you.
But
So you over here mouthing why? I'm confused. See what I have to go through? He over here sign languaging like he ain't got a whole camera just all up in. It's gonna be all right. But anyway,
I was trying to help you, team.
Tina, who you doing? I know you ain't aight.
Sometimes I.
Okay.
We're gonna see about that later. We can't record that.
See, I ain't playing with you. We gonna even we definitely editing this motherfucker.
She started it.
No. But, you know, I find out at the end of it all that, yeah, they set me up with crackhead's cousin. And this was before I knew he was a crackhead. To basically take advantage of the fact that I work very hard. I literally bust my ass to get everything that I have. Can't no nigga say he bought me shit. All my shit I bought. You can buy whatever. And when you leave, you can take that shit with you. Because I don't even want to hear that shit. So, with that being the case, you set me up with someone, y'all lie to me, tell me this person has their own business and they got houses and cars and he on your level, and being a very vulnerable person at this particular point in time, because I had a very, very horrific incident happen right before this started to take place, I fell for the okie doke. And that's very weird, because I normally am one of the ones that easily avoid the okie dokes, because most people are really easy to read. But when you can't see past your own to see somebody else's intentions, you usually get fucked. That was my fault. So yeah, it all came out in a nasty culmination of that's why your cousin did this, and this, and they was robbing you blind on purpose and telling people that they owned your house and you was borrowing their cars, when in actuality the only thing my cousin owns is her ID. And really, do you really own an ID, or does the government own your ID? I don't know. But that's because she chooses to let every dope crackhead person she finds into her world. And then you're upset because I chose a different path. And it paid off. But I tried to give you the same thing I was doing. I gave you the game. I gave you the plan. I gave you the... And you shit on it. And now you mad at me because you shit on the plan that worked for me and could have worked for you, but didn't because you was too busy chasing after dogs with fleas and ticks and shit. So that is the story time about my godchild's mother, who I no longer speak to and don't even acknowledge the existence of said Cole, because Cole is just that. At one time, I thought it could be changed into a diamond, but you have dud Coles. They that need to be put on the pit so you can cook something good with them. But that's neither here nor there. I don't wish death on nobody. I don't wish harm on nobody. I just always tell people to be careful who they fuck over in life. Because karma's a bitch. And her sister's Pete and repeat. So that's the end of my story time. I'm going to go on with my day. So my husband can stop sitting over here playing with his pics and shit. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to y'all later.